Hello. Hello, everyone. Who once again, not really here quite yet, but getting there. Those of you watching after the fact, what's up? How you all doing? Oh, stock watch. That's a thing. Hold on. And man, thank you for the 15th in a row. Okay. Got streams. Thank you for the 42nd. Pinky with 52. Lady with 28. Cupcakes with 10. Thank you all. April 27. Power just came back. Oh boy. Jabina 27. Gray with 6 months in advance. Appreciate that confidence. Lindsay, thank you for the 14th. Lorio 26. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Heather with 55. Steph with 73. Mama with 10. Thank you. Paranoid 5 months. Thank you. We are here tonight, of course, for the 2-hour episode of Big Brother 26. We'll see the comics. And then, of course, the eviction. And I can tell you, we don't know what's going to happen. We just, actually don't know. Matt, thank you for the 29th. Sonic, thank you for the 5th. Chelsea was talking to Rubina before the feeds cut. Did I see the clip Big Brother posted on Instagram? No. Volume is low. Cherry, thank you for gifting. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think there's too much I can do about the volume. I can add a compressor on this probably via OBS. Compressor. Irie, thank you for the 34th. All right. I added a compressor. I didn't do anything to the settings, but I added a compressor. Sloan, thank you for the 6th. And we're live.
There was a line in the sand between the final 5. Let's go!
That's where we're at. Yeah, let me see if I can manage the predictions here. Prediction. Commercial by 5:15. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I didn't retweet that. I talked to Reality Steve. When was that? I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, I talked to Reality Steve Tuesday. Jury segment. Orange thing for the 18th. And he was asking me like, do you think? Because he was gonna release it today or whatever. He was like, do you think? Like, it's pretty much locked in, right? And I was like, well, right now it is, but you never know. Brandon, thank you. Detective, thank you as well. Andy, thank you for the second. Ingrid with 11, thank you. Kathy with 38. Oh, I forgot that we have to do the whole thing about almost doing the cam move. Afro, thank you for the 7th. Yeah, because you're totally going to beat Chelsea, MJ. Totally. She's sitting there at the final five, surrounded by people she probably beats, except for one, and she's like, "That's the one. That's my one." Val, thank you for the 12th. They did not make a decision before feeds cut. Yeah, honestly, like some of you are saying that I'm quiet, but my levels in OBS are where they should be, so I don't know what to tell you. Some receive, thank you for the 30th. It's like listening to BB live feeds. What about this? Um, is this a diff? Ooh, yeah, that's a different volume. How about this? Slightly lower, but still. Everyone turned me up, and now they're like, "Whoa!" Yeah, that was another Mac thing. I apologize. Secret, think of the 44th. Foxy, thank you for the third. Yeah, this was a long time ago. Well, but they're like fully pretending that it wasn't a long time ago. Oh, do I need to adjust the noise gate now? Special, thank you for the third. Oh, that's interesting. It seems like they're trying to set up the flip on Rubina early here. Pauba, thank you for the 12th. Sunshine, thank you for the 8th. Natalie, thank you for the 5th. And oh, not quite, but it looks like this is gonna be yes. Yeah, Chemo and Rubina are currently trying to act out their games. That is a yes to the prediction. Okay, next prediction. Does Cam finish his veto run in the next segment? That's the prediction. Do we see the entirety of Cam's run in the veto in the next segment? That is the prediction. It's still wild to me that that they thought he was throwing this. Still think it. I turned off the gestures. Oh, so what they do in these kinds of episodes is that if the veto hasn't been played yet, like say the veto was played, they'd still have Chemo and Rubina on the sitting on the block until the veto was used in the episode, and then they'd swap. All right, we're back. Wow, we're not even starting straight in on the veto competition. That's not good news for the yes betters. This is what I'm talking about with egos getting inflated. Free rides. Free rides. Like, winning competitions is the only way that you have value as a person and as a player. Chemo's so excited. We will probably go through the comics tonight. Yeah, they really went for it with the Kenny one. You should not be ziplining for each one. I can't get over how like Dora the Explorer this edit is. Can you spot the difference? In one comic, there's a trash can. In the other comic, there's not a trash can. MJ up next. Still no Cam. MJ, you have no trust. You had no trust to break in the first place. Is your father Walter White? This is honestly awful to watch. They're really going to do this for every single one. They are going to circle, narrate every single comic. And not only are they going to point out the difference, but then they're going to show them ziplining and then have them tell us which one is the correct one. It's like they literally focus on the least interesting parts of the comics, which is the differences. Oh, here's Cam. Wait, Cam isn't throwing? What? But they knew. I think we might cliffhanger Cam's run. I think he got more wrong than right. It is physical. Literal athlete saying it's physical to anyone who tried to argue with me about this over the years. That's it. Cam's run. Finished. God, she does drop so far. That's actually wild. The little sound effect they make doesn't change the fact that that's a really far drop. She looks so small. How did she get that many wrong? They're literally getting more wrong than if they just randomly put comics down. Oh boy. They're still explaining differences. Jay, I think you're the 14th. Avengela, thank you for the 9th month. Cam with 18, thank you. Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot to handle. All right, next prediction. Let's see. Is there any mention of Cam's break? Hmm. Yeah, why not? Cam talked about taking a break during the competition because he got so tired. Prediction has started, yeah. Robbie, thank you for the 49th. Now we get to watch them be super confident that he threw this. Then him talking himself off the block. Veto doesn't get used. Then him pushing the Rubina flip. Dev, thank you for the 29th. I do not think we'll have an HOH winner tonight, no. Not at all. Yeah, that's true. We need to do the jury segment too. I would assume the jury segment comes post-veto ceremony. It's wild that it's Thursday. It's Thursday night, and we were seeing stuff from Genuinely, I think the previous Thursday night in tonight's episode. I mean, not to mention the fact that we saw stuff from like weeks and weeks and weeks ago. BDG, thank you for the 40th. But even in terms of this week, all right, we're back. We're back. Elsbeth walking into the screen still freaks me out. Mystery, thank you for the 6th. The top 3 is genuinely awful. Chelsea co-signing this is so wild. MJ, you don't hold the power this week. $13 is actually an awful time, right? Half of BB25. Finally, it was faster. He mentioned the brakes. That's a yes. MJ, get over yourself. MJ, in what world is he throwing this competition that is individually timed? Who do you think he thinks goes up on the block if Rubina or Chemo win this? I honestly. Oh, we're going to Jury House next. All right, next prediction. Something to do with Jury House. Let's see. Yeah, you gotta go Leah Quinn, but it's also like subjective. Oh, they posted the clip earlier? Hmm. How about this? Does anybody from the jury say the word mistake? Does anybody say the word mistake? It's got to be mistake, specifically mistake, not mistaken, not mistaking. Do they say mistake? Okay, I gotta say this about the Cam thing about like, oh well, Cam shouldn't have said that he took breaks. I have to disagree with that because in what world is Cam worried that people think he threw this competition? Hey, thank you for the 26th in a row. Like, if anything, him saying that he had to take breaks is an explanation for why he lost. Him just being like, yeah, I tried my hardest, got more than 30 minutes, feels like it would be more suspicious to me. Like, the idea that it was like, oh man, that was so hard, I had to take a break in the middle of it. It's like, that's not something that anybody who threw that competition would ever say. Like, I think it's easy to look at it and be like, oh, that must have been that's such a mistake because we know that they think that he's throwing this competition. But it's an absolutely wild thought to even have that he would be throwing this competition. Clayton, thank you for the third. All right, we're back. Also, also, just for the record, if you did think he was throwing that competition, that's not a reason to take him out. Like, if I did for some reason think that he was throwing that competition, I would be like, oh, so he's stupid. He's playing us. Playing maybe the second month. It's also so rich that these people who are probably one of the worst performing BB Comics casts are the ones so incensed about his bad performance. Finally. All right, that makes me feel better about Chelsea. The fact that she's saying she wants to go to the final three with Cam and MJ. The yips. Axe thing of the 8th. Not that difficult, says the person who has one of the slowest winning times. CB, thank you for the second month. We didn't even get the jury segment. What the hell? I'll keep the prediction because I didn't specify if no jury segment. It's a no. Because I didn't even think there'd be no jury segment. Where can I find the past winning BB Comics times? Here we go. Christine won it in 11 minutes. Steve won it in 13. Nicole won it in 13. Paul won it in 12. Nicole won it in 10. Nicole won it in 11. Michael in 9. And then Jag was like 6, right? Or was it Nicole did not win it all 3 seasons. Jag's time was 8. MJ was 13. 50. $13.51. Nicole won it in 18 and $13.55. Steve won it in 17, $13.57. So it's actually not as slow as I thought. I think just recently, like this is like old school times. Like recently it's been won by much bigger margins. The last time it was 13 minutes plus, it was season 18. So it was, like 8 years ago. We're back. Those yips. Man, they didn't even really show, like, they're really dogging Cam here. We'll see what she gives as her explanation. You have to assume the casual audience is like, wow, what a terrible misdirect. There's no way they actually considered doing this because he did poorly in a competition. Okay. They did Cam so dirty here. Cam convinced her he actually was bad in that moment, which is why she didn't use the veto. Because after that conversation with Cam, she talked to Chelsea about how she thinks he's just bad. And instead, they showed the DR of her being like, I think he threw it. Like, it didn't work. Your boyfriend was saying that. I mean, honestly, what this tells me is that they probably don't think this far in advance, but like, they probably don't feel good about Cam winning a jury vote. If they did, they wouldn't try to be actively taking credit away from him, I think. Okay, they're even giving the Rubina stuff to Chelsea. That's wild. Surely we get a jury segment now. Yeah, this is when they showed Chelsea talk, because okay. Chelsea so very clearly was trying to get Rubina trying to get Chemo evicted up until yesterday. Like, every piece of evidence we have points to that. She actively talked MJ like after the veto, or after they decided not to use the veto. She was like, "But we need to make sure Chemo leaves. We absolutely want Chemo to go." When Chemo tried to campaign tour days ago, she like didn't even give him the time of day. And then yesterday, after talking to both Cam and Chemo and fighting and arguing against Cam for a while, she finally relented and started to agree that they should maybe keep Chemo. Yeah, that's just a wild edit there. That's just wild. They must really feel like there's absolutely no shot Cam wins this game. They like, because you have to, like, taking away Cam saving himself is at least somewhat understandable because, like, there was a little bit of like, oh, well, if we show MJ believing him, then it might give away that she doesn't use the veto, so we have to keep them in suspense. But it takes active work to rewrite history and act like it wasn't Cam who days ago said, I want to keep you, Chemo, and make this pitch. Like, what that means is my guess is Cam loses to everyone in the final two. Everyone, or at least close to everyone, you'd have to assume. All right, we're back. Well, I think the 12th. Here we go. I would rather die. Of course, Quinn assumes she would have put up Chelsea. Vita being used every day, every week is great, he says to T-Core, the person who went out that he's watching. Wait, she actually thinks Chelsea kept her instead of chemo? T-Core continues to do chemo so dirty. Cam or Mackenzie have to be targeted is an interesting thought. They're so proud of this, they're even showing the jury. Nah. Lowest budget acting of the season. Do 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 do. I did not hear mistake. I don't know about you guys. I do not believe I heard mistake. All right. Okay, next prediction. How about how long do we think the next segment is? Do we get a let's do a commercial by midway through. Do we get a commercial by 6:30? On the clock. So yeah, I think obviously that jury segment tells us what we all assumed, which is that Chelsea wins, very likely, if she gets to the final two. And honestly, it's kind of making me feel like what we thought in terms of how the edit's playing out, that probably MJ beats Cam. and that chemo has a chance. That's probably, I mean, basically what they're telling us in this jury segment, which is not always true, but basically what they're telling us is the three people that can win are chemo, Chelsea, MJ. Yeah, we didn't get a single mention of Rubina. The only mention of Cam we got was Angela saying he's a floater, and then that why wouldn't you take him to the end? The problem, we talked about this, I talked about this with Corey a little bit. The problem with Cam cutting Chelsea at the final three is that, like, there's not a lot of time for that to matter to the voters. Of course they're singing. Man, lucky for them, they've got 2 hours to fill. Wow, Rubina's sister looks exactly like her. That guy doesn't even look like the person in the comic. He's literally just bald. Oh, the dogs at the crib reference. His dad's a little salty that he hasn't gotten a shout out. Do you think they heard the tinkly music? Because if I was in that house and I heard tinkly music under just Chelsea's family, that would signal something to me. Julie, chill. He said he hasn't talked to him in a while. Okay, we have 2 minutes left. I think this is going to be a yes. Yes, indeed. Wow, unpopular answer, yes. Okay, let's see. Next segment will likely be campaigning. Um, how about, do we see Cam telling Chemo he wants him to stay? It's a fairly specific conversation. Cam telling Chemo, I want you to stay. I was going to do something a little more specific, like, do we see that as like the inciting incident, which it was, but like, that's a little too complicated. So just, do we see it at all at this point? And then vote count's going to be fun. Because we really don't know what it is. So I assume we'll get a vote after this segment. Yeah. Right? We'll do this segment. Commercial. By then it'll be like 6:40. We'll do the vote. Or speeches, vote. Come outside. Commercial. Come back. Interview. Goodbye messages. Go back to the house guests. That kind of tracks, I think. They just hate live HOH competitions. Clearly. Final Four HOH is usually um, some form of like days with typically a physical component nowadays. It used to be a lot better. Oh yeah, and you know what? They've also done some endurances. It used to be straight quizzes, which was great. It is, yeah. We can talk about that again. It is wild that T-Core thinks that Chelsea voted for and not chemo. I assume it won't matter though. It's not like she'll find out and feel betrayed. I think it'll. I think it's not a big deal. All right, we're back. Well aware of that. Cam and chemo. Here we go. Is that Cam indicating he might take chemo to the final two? He also said he thinks he beats anybody, though. Yeah, I'll give that a yes. This is interesting. Yeah, this is not what I thought it would be, given how they ended the previous hour. They're definitely giving Cam credit here and indicating that Cam might be willing to cut Chelsea, which is, I'm still not sure I believe it, but I think there's a chance Chemo would evict MJ over Chelsea. I mean, I think Chemo sees Chelsea as the biggest jury threat, but MJ is a bigger comp threat, and Chemo needs to get there, you know? So I think it would be a choice if he won that veto. He's definitely not as locked in to keep Chelsea as she thinks he is. MJ's so pissed. I do think Rubina cuts Chelsea if she wins the veto, for what it's worth. Like, it's not such a bad like, I do think Chelsea's right in that Rubina is more likely to cut her than Chemo. I think. Well, yeah. All right. Prediction. Vote count. What is the vote count? The name of the person is the person evicted. Evicted. What do I think? I mean, okay. If I had to guess, given the information I have, it would be that she keeps Rubina because she was talking to Rubina the last thing we saw. And it would be pretty wild of her to have that conversation with Rubina and then not keep her. But there's a lot that we potentially didn't see. And you think of the 10th. But like, given that there's a lot we potentially didn't see, but it's not like there's like a ton of time, I think. Edit does kind of say Rubina, but if the decision was made in the last couple of hours, then the edit can't. There's nothing the edit can do. Is the prediction wrong? No. All right, let's see. What are the odds here? 34% say Chemo is evicted. 57% say Rubina is evicted. Actually, it's actually a better split than that if you count the other votes. Think of the third month. 40% say Chemo. 60% say Rubina. And we're back. Seven times. Covering the chat just in case. All right, here we go. Cam's vote. Chemo. And Cam has lost a vote as well. Two zero chemo. He's still in Genesis. My first draft loss. I think also this... Yeah, I mean, unless Cam can beat Rubina, I probably can't win the draft because MJ is always there with Chelsea and always loses. Unless Cam cuts Chelsea for MJ, but I don't think he's going to do that. Wow. Okay, they definitely don't like Cam. That was brutal. No goodbye messages? Really? With this much time left? What are we going back to the house guests for? Okay. What should the final prediction be? I'm trying to think. We're definitely not getting the HOH comp. In no world should Cam have voted to evict Rubina knowing that MJ was going to break the tie to evict Chemo. That's... In no world should he have done that. Rubina's staying in the game. And he desperately needs an ally. All right, how about this? Who is the last person to speak other than Julie? Is it Cam, Chelsea, Rubina, or MJ? And along with Julie, we'll count to anybody. Sorry, you're right. Like anybody, like who of the final four is the last one to speak, basically? Including credits. Oof, they really spaced this episode out, huh? I can't believe we didn't get goodbye messages. I'll forgive them not doing a Final Four HOH because the Final Four HOH doesn't really matter. All right, we're back. I heard Rubina last so far. Eavesdropping. Oh, MJ made that very clear. That's going to be MJ. Okay. Whew. We made it through 2 hours. We will have a podcast, so stay tuned. We will break down the BB Comics. And listen, we're going to point out every single difference. It's going to be great. So stay tuned. Join me for the podcast. I'll be back tomorrow morning for the update and the Q&A and all that good stuff. So thanks for hanging out with me here on stream. And I will see all of you very soon on the podcast.